What's up, everyone? With tryouts just around the corner, let's talk about some tips for tryouts and how you're going to make that team. Let's go. First tip coming at you, be prepared. That's right, you got to be prepared for today's tryout. You've worked a lot before right now. You worked on your athleticism. You worked on your stick work. Now's the time to excel at it. You have done the work. Now let's let it pay off. Know as much as possible coming into tryouts. Check in with your coach. Ask him what's expected. What's going to be a part of the tryouts. Pay attention to the emails. Know what's coming. It's not going to be a surprise. Make sure you eat and hydrate appropriately on tryout days. Too many times I've seen kids shovel too much stromboli in their mouth during lunch, and I see it come back at practice. Don't do that on a day where you're already feeling a little uneasy, a little anxious. Eat right, hydrate. And lastly, a big part of being prepared is just visualize that success. See yourself, okay? Think about what you're going to do. See yourself succeeding in tryouts. If you see yourself doing it, and then you get in the drill and you're doing it in real life, it's just a rerun. Visualize, then do it. So be prepared. Rely on your athleticism. Know as much as you can on what to expect the day of. Eat and drink well the day of, the day before, to make sure you're ready to go. And lastly, visualize that success. If you are prepared in those ways, you're going to be successful. Number 2 on our list is be engaged, right? Be part of that moment. And what you got to do that is you got to be punctual. You got to be on time. Be early. As a coach, we only have 2 to 3 days, 2 hours each day to make this team happen. As soon as that team happens, we got to get off the ground running. We got to put our systems in, get everything in place. We only have a couple of days to do this. So if you are late, you are missing a huge opportunity. Make sure you are there early, ready to go. When you are there, make sure you're focused, all right? I know we got back to tryouts. We want to have fun with our buddies. It's a great time to see each other again. We got lacrosse sticks in our hands. We're having a blast. But be focused on the task at hand. Don't goof off. Don't be that guy in the back of the line, because you know what? Coach will see you. And lastly, the best way you can be engaged is to absolutely listen to what's going on. Don't just hear. Hearing is, I hear it. Listening is, I hear it, I internalize it, I do it. The players that can listen the best, hear it, internalize it, now execute, are the ones that are showing that they're coachable. If you're early, ready to rock and roll, if you're focused when you're there, and when you're listening and executing, you are making sure that you are engaged, and you are really helping your chances to make that team. Number 3 on our list is be neutral. I love neutral thinking as presented by Trevor Moad. Neutral thinking is not positive thinking. Positive thinking is great, but the problem with positive thinking is when things go wrong, you can't be very positive. Negative thinking, obviously, for all the right reasons, it's not good. Short-term memory. With neutral thinking, you got to have that short-term memory. You might have just had a great play. You might have just had a terrible play. As long as you have short-term memory, that play's gone. We're ready to make the next one. You've got to constantly be ready for the next play. Next ground ball. Next shot. Next stop. Next time you're playing 1v1s. Focus on the next thing. As long as you're always ready for the next thing and not dwelling on the past, you're going to be in good shape. With being neutral, all you can do is control what you can control, and you control yourself. You can't control that player over there goofing off. You can't control that player over there ripping shots into the woods. You control your hustle, your effort, your attitude. These are all things that you are able to control. If you control yourself in the best way possible, who cares what's going on outside of you? Coaches notice things like effort. Coaches notice things like hustle. Coaches notice things like your attitude. If you can shine in those areas by controlling what you can control, you're going to like the end result. And lastly, by being neutral, play with confidence. You've worked for this moment. You've worked for this opportunity. You should be confident in yourself. You're not being cocky, but you should be confident. You know what you need to do. You're prepared. You put in the work. Now's the time to do it. So there you go. That's being neutral. Not too high, not too low. Short-term memory. Things don't go well. Block them out of our memory. Control what you can control. Make sure that hustle, make sure that effort, make sure that attitude is exactly where it needs to be. And lastly, play with confidence. You're ready for this moment. Go out there and just execute. Number 4 is be sound. What do I mean by that? Do the simple things right. Focus on the little stuff. If you get the little things right, you're going to be setting yourself up for great things further down the road. Being sound starts with little wins. Pick up little wins, because each little win snowballs on each other. Picking up ground balls. Throwing with a buddy even before practice begins so your stick's just right. Find these little wins and let it build upon itself, because you're going to gain more confidence with each little win that you get. Let your strength shine. You've got strengths. You know what they are. Don't try to be someone else. You got a friend that's shooting from 15 yards. If you're not an outside shooter, don't be shooting from 15 yards. Some guy just threw an awesome takeaway check, but you're a great position defender. Don't try to throw those awesome takeaway checks and get smoked. Keep it simple. You know what you're good at. Let your strength shine. And lastly, the most important part about being sound is doing the fundamentals right. Coaches don't want to see you out there throwing behind the back passes at the inappropriate time. Coaches don't want to see you out there hot dogging it. They want to see at tryouts that you are fundamentally sound, doing the right things at the right times. And if you make a mistake, as long as you're doing the right thing, I saw you see a great pass, you're in great shape. If you're being silly, you're throwing things away, and you're doing it too many times, I'm also going to see that too. And I'm going to know which guy I want on my team, the fundamentally sound or the one that's just hot dogging it at tryouts. If you're already starting at that point, it's not going to go well. So there you go. Be sound. Start with some small wins to build your confidence. Let your strength shine. Focus on those strengths and execute them. And lastly, just be fundamentally sound. The most fundamental players are the best players for a team. I can promise you that. I will always find a role for somebody that is fundamentally sound. Number 5, be competitive. You need to push yourself. If you can't push yourself hard, no one else is going to be able to. You need to be done with the day knowing that you did everything you possibly could to be the best version of yourself. Be competitive with yourself first. Be aggressive. Fundamentally sound, but aggressive. As long as you're staying within the framework of what you're supposed to do and you're being aggressive, you are going to help yourself and everyone around you. Guaranteed. Sometimes when we're being aggressive, we make mistakes. And in most coaches' opinion, it is okay to make mistakes when you are being aggressive going 100%. It's not okay if you're making continuous silly mistakes. But if you're being aggressive, being fundamentally sound, you're doing a great thing for yourself and for your team. And lastly, I'm throwing in the be competitive bucket. You've got a voice. Use your voice. One of the things I can't stand the most is when players don't speak, they don't talk, they don't communicate. If you are out there and you are communicating, you are telling guys where to go, you're telling everybody what's happening, I've got a quarterback on the field, I'm going to love that as a coach. Get out there, use your voice. So wrapping that up, be competitive. Push yourself as hard as you can and know at the end of the day, you did everything you could. Push your teammates, make them better players. Be aggressive with it and don't be afraid to make mistakes. And lastly, use your voice. Number 6, be a teammate. You are trying out for a team after all. So coach needs to see that you are able to work with others around you. Part of being a great teammate is just being there for the next guy. Making sure he's finishing his drill strong. If he needs a little help, you're there to help him out. If they're confused on what to do next, you're there to help operate it. Another part of being a teammate is just applauding others. When others make a great play, let them know they made a great play. Be the supportive person. Be a cheerleader. You don't have to be wild and crazy. Woo! But you know what I'm talking about. You know, hey, great job, great finish, great shot. And lastly, show leadership. Coaches need players to be leaders. We talked about it before. We're looking for that quarterback on the field. And even if you're not that true quarterbacking type, you could lead by example. You jump in front of the line. You're the demonstrator when coach needs to show things. You're the guy that's stepping forward and everyone else can follow. Leading by example is another great way you can do it. Of course, there's always the vocal end of it. Communicating to guys, keeping them in line, making sure they know where to go, which drills are next. Be a teammate that's ready to help out with everyone. And if you don't want to be the vocal leader, that's fine. Lead by example. Everyone has a role to play on this team. If you can embrace your role and help others, you're going to find yourself an opportunity to be on that sideline. There you go. There's your 6 tips for tryouts and how to make that team. If you found value in today's video, please hit that subscribe button for us down below. And you know what to do now. Get out there and execute. And as we say around here, don't forget the little things.